You guys having a bit of a hard time? Like, I feel like I've taken like a walk where it's like, okay, we've gone like a quarter mile and there was a door to that place on the other side of the external hall. Why did I go that way, right? Well, the next thing, if they had used it, I'm sure they haven't. If they'd used it, there's this thing called GeoAlchemy 2. You've heard of SQLAlchemy, right?
Yeah.
So there's this thing you can layer upon SQLAlchemy called GeoAlchemy 2. And what it does is it provides geospatial queries and operations on top of, say, Postgres. So you can ask me questions like, how far is it from here to there? Like, am I within this room? Like, you could easily define all these polygons, insert them as SQLAlchemy objects, and ask questions like, who is in such and such room if we all say RFID?
And that would be easier to navigate like that?
If we could throw some A-star algorithms to like say find the shortest path through all the open doors, that would be easier. Anyone out there do any geospatial queries? Yeah?
Yeah, not queries so much, but we do some geospatial work, and so sometimes we need to, given an object, find it in the earth. So.
Nice. Have you tried GeoAlchemy?
No, I haven't. Actually, I wanted to ask: is that from the same people that bring SQLAlchemy?
I think it's a different group. There was a thing called GeoAlchemy, and then you could use that, and this is like a reimagining of the API. So this is like a second edition. So the way it works is basically just like SQLAlchemy. You connect to your database, you declare a mapping, you declare like the class is just derived from like a SQLAlchemy base. It has a name and an ID, but it can also have columns like a geometry, which is a polygon. And then about that, you can ask questions like, you can go to it, just say session.query.filter where this thing contains this point, or where the area is greater than or less than such and such. And just all sorts of interesting questions. So if you like SQLAlchemy and you want to ask questions about physical stuff, boom, GeoAlchemy 2. Yeah?
Well, since we didn't share each other, we have no cool segue between
Not too much, but I could see what you got here for this one. Yeah, so we've been on a rant, haven't we? A UI rant?
Yes, a little bit of UI in the podcast. But one of the things that is come to our attention is Qt is not staying still. So there's what I'm talking about here is there's another PySide 2, which is going to be called like
Qt for Python?
Qt for Python, but it's not quite ready yet. But there's actually a lot of Python bindings. There's that I know of. There's PySide 2, there's PyQt5, there's PyQt4, there's the original PySide, and there's a couple, and then there's Qt.py.
And this is just for Qt, not WX Python, not all the other stuff,
yeah,
right?
Just for Qt.
Yeah.
And there's two projects. Qt PyConvert is a project that converts from any of these interface bindings to an intermediate, which is a shim layer, which is Qt.py, which is a minimal. We bill it as a minimal Python 2 and 3 shim around all of the Qt bindings, and just sort of fun to be able to use one, whatever you've got now, and convert it back and forth.
I think it's a great idea. So it's going to be awesome that there are new, better ways to write Python UIs, but there's all this other code that people have written, PyQ4, for example, and this thing will let you sort of run a converter across it to adapt from all these different older versions to like the new hotness. So it should make it work really well.
Yeah, and one of the neat things about this is it uses a conversion that leaves all your comments in place. So it rewrites Python code, but it rewrites it. It leaves a bunch of your stuff in it.
That's pretty advanced.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe, but do like a branch or something before you do that.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Anybody got a comment on Python UIs? All right. Cool. So I'm really excited for that. I'm excited for Python for Qt coming. I think that's going to be good. There's a bunch of other stuff. I think there needs to be more work done there, as I've said. All right. So let me tell all the listeners and you guys about our sponsor. So Datadog, who are big supporters of the Python space, they're here at the conference. Obviously, they've been supporting the show for a long time. So check out Datadog. They're like a monitoring solution, mostly for your distributed applications. So if you got like microservices and containers and all that, you can trace a request from one part to the next and figure out where things are slow, where you run into errors, all sorts of stuff like that. So get a cool Datadog t-shirt, go to pythonbytes.fm/Datadog, do the tutorial, get a SQL shirt. It's awesome. All right, so Brian, we live in a pretty laid-back city, Portland. Pretty chill, right?
Love it.
Yeah, I love it too, man. But even in Portland, there is a bit of a sense of people are like working really hard, and it's almost like a badge of honor. Like, oh man, how you know? I'm so busy. You wouldn't believe how busy I am. I know you're busy, but I'm like way more busy. I've got all these projects, and I've got this stuff going on and that. And there's this great article written that is a reminder that you don't have to be a workaholic to get ahead in tech. So the article's called "You Don't Have to Be a Workaholic to Win." You know, certain ways to stand out, and I really, really like this because I feel like there's two things going on that I don't like. One is this, what I kind of opened with, people like busy brag, like it's cool to them to be super busy, and so they just tell you how busy they are, and you know, just one off each other.
Yeah, I ran into this guy that says like, yeah, I've got 2 podcasts and I wrote a book.
Yeah. That's not cool, man. That's not cool. And the other one is like actual tech companies or other companies that are like, you know what, we're going to put just a fake deadline here 6 weeks out and make everybody work overtime so we can hit it. And it's like, well, what happens if we don't hit it? Well, then my manager will be upset. Like, that is not a real deadline, right? Those are not actual deadlines. And so there's just a bunch of great ideas in here. So let me run by you, see what you think. Oh, by the way, yeah, let me just run through the tips. Hold on. This thing like popped up. All right, so here's the tips. The first one is like you can be a workaholic or you can be creative. And if you really try to think differently about solutions, if you're the person that says, yeah, we could work all night and we could build this thing this way, well, did you know you could pip and solve things that did this, right? If you just like think outside the box and try to solve a solution, like creativity could be more value than working hard. Yeah?
Yeah.
Stubbornness. Stubbornness is not generally considered a good thing, but in programming, like I've had lots of people go, Michael, you're so good with computers, you're such a good programmer, how'd you learn this? I tried this, it was hard, it didn't work. I'm just like, well, I tried it for 3 hours and then it did work, right? Like I tried everything I could think of until it worked, and it just, I wasn't gonna quit. And then that's one of the things we're talking about. You have that experience?
So that's a way to work less?
That's not but what they're saying is if you're the person that like can actually solve the problem because you don't give up on it, rather than just like, we can't do this thing, we gotta do something else.
Okay.
You know, that kind of thing. They're all like pretty interesting and it takes curiosity. Right? Like I'm willing to like be the person that learns Kubernetes and actually now we can all go home because their deployments don't break and I didn't even have a pager, it's amazing. Right? Kindness. I really like the kindness one. Like if everyone is a jerk, and you're the person that's nice and helps everyone, right? Like all of a sudden you become the person in the office or the company and they're like, yeah, go talk to Jeff, man. He will help you and he won't insult you at the same time.
Not on purpose.
Planning is good. Improvisation, like for the opposite of planning, like, well, things aren't going according to plan, let's fix it. Enthusiasm, kind of like kindness. Communication, that's good. Presence, I really like that one.
Yes.
Right, like so many people are like, yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I'm gonna go work my thing, right? But so I take the time to like be in the moment.
That's actually hard. And
It's hard. I'm making fun of it, but it's hard.
And especially in a work environment, you're like in the middle of something, somebody comes over. If you're going to be interrupted anyway, then really be interrupted and pay attention.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. So I'll keep going just a little bit more collaboration, right? Open source, like we're all kind of in that space anyway. Willingness, honestly, I forget what that's about. But it's, I remember it was really good. Patience also. And then finally, institutional knowledge, right? Like,
where to lock people up.
Yeah, where's why do we have that old server over there? Yeah. And like, can anybody work with it? Yeah, actually, I know where the source code is, and I can fix that for you, right? Yeah. I don't want to, but I could fix it if I had. Right. Anyway, like, so do these resonate with you guys?
Yeah, this makes me think of Brian. You had Stephanie. I'm forgetting her last name. And she talked about. Your conversation with her was about mentoring, but she talked about her work approach and how she only works like 4 hours a day. She owns her own like data compression and consultancy. But this also makes me think of a post I've seen from somebody who works with Starbucks' web applications group. It talked about how they pretty much almost burned out of the tech industry, and then they just said, hey, I instituted some of these principles to just make things obviously probably not only more productive at work, but just more sustainable for you long term on a personal basis.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So are we going back to World War
No, I'm actually going back to QT.
Oh, okay.
So,
So, pretty much the trenches?
yeah, so actually, just related to that, when I was researching for the QT PyConvert, I was curious as to how they did the conversion while leaving the code comments in place.
Okay.
So I followed the rabbit hole, and there's a project called Red Baron, which is I hadn't heard of before, but it calls itself a FST, which is a full syntax tree. So it's a lossless abstract syntax tree thing, which you can do queries and modifications. And I think they've got a few uses that they list of possibly like renaming a variable in a source file and making sure that it doesn't clash with anything that's not a variable, like not clashing with things in strings and other bits. A few handful of like splitting up files. There's other. I think this is sort of maybe a tool to build other tools with. I can't imagine like I personally wouldn't try to like write a script of like doing this, but if I built it into an IDE or something like that.
Yeah, it sounds like this is like the foundation of a refactoring tool,
Yeah.
pretty much. That's awesome.
But I could see in a large code base the desire to possibly build even one-off things if it's going to save you time.
You mean like some magic thing convert from Python 2 to Python 3?
Or like for instance, we're converting from in-house testing system to PyTest.
Right.
Building something like that to convert hundreds of tests. There's no off-the-shelf thing that's going to do that, but maybe something like this.
Yeah, that's really, really awesome.
But it's a fun project.
So Michael, you joke about like the conversion of 2 to 3, but that's exactly what 2 to 3 the tool does.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, so like everyone here is familiar with the AST module, I hope. It's really cool. And then I guess they call it a full syntax tree, but it's often more broadly, I think, referred to as a CST or concrete syntax tree.
Okay.
And so that's what 2 to 3 is based on. That's also what the new Black code formatting tool that there was a lightning talk yesterday is based on. Right, because it has to maintain comments and all these things that otherwise go away in the AST.
Right, that's awesome. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, Black is awesome. We covered it before. You gotta like the code. All right, so I want to close out the official items with something pretty cool here. So our booth is right next to the Beware guys, and the Beware guys are trying to fill another major hole that I see in the Python space, which is really around packaging and especially mobile, right? Like they're trying to build native apps in Python. And I've criticized them a little bit previously, saying, you guys, there's like not really many demos, there's not a lot of screenshots. You gotta like show me where this stuff is if you expect people to use it, right? Well, so one of the announcements this week is that Project Beware just launched an app in the Apple App Store. Like a straight up approved by Apple, installed on your phone, and it does stuff. It's not super advanced, it's basically like gives you currency conversions and tip calculations, like how much do I need to tip in like RMB, you know, things like that. But it's really cool that there's an example of a Beware app in the App Store.
Yeah.
Is it up on GitHub, the source, or?
I'm sure that it is. I haven't looked at the source code, but yeah, I'm sure that they've got it up there. So the link I have, I think, either goes to an article or straight to the App Store, and it's pretty cool. So it uses Briefcase and Toga. And Briefcase is a tool for converting a Python project into a standalone native app on Mac, Windows, Linux, iPad, iPhone, Android, Apple TV, and tvOS. Should go. Are those different? Anyway, yeah, Apple TV and tvOS. Awesome. So it's pretty cool. So it's like the first step. I was talking to Keith Russell McGee about it, and he's pretty excited, but it's just the first step. So, but if you guys are looking to contribute to open source, they're really big. At accepting new folks, a really great project for that.
And you get a token.
And you get a cool token, like a token to say I contributed to the Beware project.
Yeah, I was actually talking with
Russell.
Yeah, and he was one of the things that I one of the parts of their system is Cricket, which is a testing GUI.
Yeah.
It doesn't handle PyTest, but that's one of the things they'd like to have somebody work on is to try to convert.
Oh, are you going to add PyTest again?
I'll look into it. I'm bringing this up now to recruit anybody else that wants to help out with that, because I would definitely try it out more if I already had a PyTest link. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you gave your talk on visual testing with PyCharm, which is awesome. And it's going to be on something I'll mention in a second. But that's sort of another analogous thing, right? Like a GUI for running your tests in your project.
Yeah,
Cool.
so we use PyCharm for the test runner part, but this would be just a standalone test runner without an IDE.
Yeah, exactly. No way, just the running.
Yeah.
It's easier to fix the test if you don't have data. All right, well, I think that's it for all of our items that we have for you guys this week. I have a few extra things I want to throw out. Actually, this one more to the listeners. So first of all the videos, except for things like this, are recorded and put online. So already the videos from PyCon 2018 are live. People can check them out, right?
There's some.
Yeah, not all of them, but they're coming in. They're
Yeah.
a day or two latency there. That's pretty good though for video. So just go to youtube.com/PyCon 2018. The other one is not so good. Apparently there was some package that caused some trouble. Like previously, remember we talked about there being bad packages getting into the App Store, not App Store, the
Yeah.
API. So there's some Reddit post that says, hey guys, you should be a little bit careful with the SSH-decorator package. And it says, don't install it or use it from pip. It has a backdoor to steal all your SSH credentials. If that's true, you should not have this anymore, and you should uninstall it. I don't know, but the people say the compromise package has been taken out. They reached out to the developers, and initially there was no response, but apparently it's gone now. So you can't update it. But if you already have it, you should not have it anymore. So just like a sort of PSA, public service announcement, don't use that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything else you want to add, Brian?
No, I'm just having a great time at PyCon.
Yeah, PyCon is awesome. I call this my geek holiday. Right? I try to refrain telling my wife that because she's like, you just got back from geek holiday. I'm like, no, I'm really actually tired. I need to rest. No, you need to take the kids and do this and do that. It's all right. But yeah, I really love coming here, and like I really look forward to meeting everybody and having these experiences. And
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting
Like
in
go
an
out and
amazing
talk
way.
with nerd stuff all day long, and then go out and have dinner and drinks with
I
nerds
know.
also.
I had to have cocktails today. It was really hard. All right. So how about everyone in the audience? You guys want to just close it out? Say goodbye from PyCon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye from PyCon.
Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for being here for this live recording. Bye.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, my computer finally turned on.
About halfway through.